All right. We're going to be watching Akiyama versus Delial, but this is going to be incredibly chaotic because I am currently cooking and it's not one of those things I can just leave for, however many minutes and come back. So I'm going to be running in and out. I don't know what that means for the video. What I think I'll do is I'll pause while I'm not here, which doesn't mean you get to watch in real time, but it does mean you don't have downtime where no one's talking and you don't know when the voice will come back. So maybe you skip around and then maybe you actually do want to hear what I have to say and you have to spend a while rewinding to figure out where I'm at. That seems like a pain for you, and I'm looking out for you. So hopefully we can get this all to feel good and comfortable. The cooking is fairly close to done, but it's not something I'm used to making, so I definitely need to be paying attention. Things I'm used to making, I also need to pay attention. I'm not good at this. There's the rice finishing. We're making a stir fry thing, but different than how I normally would. And yeah, I'll I'll pause here, and I'll be back momentarily for you, and in a little while for me when the game begins. Currently, Delial leads the match 1-0, having won the closed game. They will now be either playing the open closed or the open. I don't know which. Um, these are both wonderful players. This is the marquee matchup of the quarterfinals and could easily be the marquee matchup of any tournament it happened in. And I'm excited to see what comes next. All right. Excellent news. My cooking, I think, has 5 to 7 minutes left, but I don't have to do anything for that time. So that's great. Now, we see an interesting thing here. In the previous matchup, we saw both players went for level threes on their double number card. I've already talked about this rule set a bit, but you need a card that has a pair of numbers. And Akiyama has followed in that trend with 6363, while Delial has gone for the pure raw power of 5656, though of course this is a card that has much less plus wall capability, but it might have significant plus capability with so many sixes and sevens running around. They both picked 774s. I thought 774s were going to be mandatory on this set. Vid did not use a 774, but also Vid lost. So, maybe that doesn't say much there. But I assumed 774s would be frequent, and we're seeing them in both hands here. What has Akiyama done? Oh god, he's such a lunatic. Okay, we'll get to that. Anyway, for the 666, Delhi has gone with a 6662, targeting enemy sixes, while Akiyama has gone with a 6663, targeting sevens. Um, Given the two hands, are there more sixes than sevens? I count more sixes than sevens, but it's a reasonable choice either way. Sevens are more important to hit because you can't overpower them as much, if meaning at all. Um, for the level 3, they have both selected a 4157. No, that's not true. For the level 3, Akiyama has picked a 2366, which is my preferred level 3, while Delhi quite often goes for 7541s instead of 6632s. I think these are a touch worse, but I think he also handles them well, and they are interesting alternatives to use on this kind of rule set. Finally, for the card with four different numbers, Delial has gone 7634. I thought 7634 and 7654 seemed the most appealing, but 7652 also an option. And Akiyama has gone 4157. So at 2 points in his hand when he could have used a level 5, he's used a level 3. The man is a lunatic. I don't mean this insultingly. In Triad Wars 14 finals, he intentionally used low level cards, or maybe not intentionally, but he used an extra, I think it was intentional. In one of the games, he used an extra low level card against me and had no trouble in that game achieving a tie, which was kind of mortifying for me. Um, Notably, he also just used a high level card as his starter. This is very weird play to me, right? If we look at the remaining hands, Delhi could play all level 5s for the rest. Oh, my phone's making noises. All right. We're going to pause for a sec, but Delhi could have all level 5s for the rest of the game. He only has to play 4 turns, while Akiyama has only one level 5 for the rest of the game left. I don't know what's going on here. This is weird play to me. There's probably some point. Um, he does have some good recaptures here, though. If I was Delhi, I would start thinking about 5-1-4-7 and 2 because 7-7-4-1 and 4 concedes a plus and 5. And if you don't have a clean recapture there, this can be really uncomfortable really quickly. Uh, yeah, anything with a 6 down and 3, if you can't go in 4 and you have to go in 3, anything with a 6 down is comboed. So you probably have to play 4-1-5-7 and 3 and hope for a tie. This looks like trouble might be coming. I'm going to go check my phone, which means I'm going to pause the video, and we'll be back for you momentarily. Well, I really should be responding to that call, but food's coming out and we're doing this. I don't really have time. The rest of this video, if it hasn't been already, is going to be a huge mess. But 5147 in 2 looks really appealing to me. 7-7-4-1 and 6 is a kind of funny rejoinder, or maybe 6-3-6-3 and 6. Something saying, okay, I have good play in 5. Now, how good is that play? I'm not sure, but I think decent. I think decent. I think 5-1-4-7 and 2 probably can be met in 6 with decent chances to hold. I'm really spitballing here, right? I'm not doing deep calculation. I'm going entirely on, okay, that sets up a really good threat in 5. There's no kind of counter combo in 4. And the card you would play in 4, 7-6-3-4, leaves a weak number out facing. It's often hard to win from that kind of position. Um, so my guess at a range, just from heuristics of kind of, okay, you go 2, they go 6, can't really give them 3, so you go 3, they take the combo in 5, you go 4, grabbing 1. You have 2 cards that are safe on the top row, but you have a vulnerable card, it's 5-5. They'll take and go up 6-4. They'll probably have a capture at the end, I think. Good chance we end in a tie there. Is my very, very quick calculation instinct there. There's a lot of moves other than 2. I was just drawn to 2, and especially in a format where I, let's say I'm a bit harried at the moment. To use a word I don't use much. Yeah, we're not going to be calculating too much here. Okay, let's pause the video. We'll come back shortly. I really hope Akiyama hasn't moved by the time we come back. I am very worried he's going to play a quick move. So actually, we'll leave this on, and this is failing to do what I said we'd do earlier. He has picked up 5147. Will we see it land in 2? No, he puts it back down because he's going to go down to like 4 seconds before he makes a move. But I'm going to go, I think, serve myself food because I am hungry. So, okay, we're going to leave this on. I just moved the computer. Sorry if that made horrible sounds for the microphone. I tried to do it delicately. He goes 6-2-6-6 and 3. 6-3-6-3 has 2, but it has nowhere else. 5-6-5-6 has 2. 5-1-4-7 has 6. 7-7-4-1 is Akiyama's only capture or recapture. So if Delhi can occupy 2, then 7-7-4-1 suddenly becomes like the only card in Akiyama's hand that can do anything. So I think Akiyama should probably occupy 2 himself. And the question is how? There is not a super clean way. This might be a better move than I was looking at. I love capturing these days. All I do is capture stuff. But often not capturing can be better. And this looks quite reasonable to me. Akiyama may have trouble going up. And again, he has all these level 3s. He has just less raw power here to do things. And often, honestly, I think Akiyama is the single player least affected on the site by imbalanced randoms. I think he just has a way of making cards work together and doing so while playing quite quickly. It is a remarkable, really remarkable talent. I am going to pause the video now. Now that we've seen Deli's move, we won't see a jump because Deli will take his time. But this is, I think, a good situation for Deli, and we'll see how Akiyama defends it. Um, yeah, I do think Akiyama has a remarkable talent for making level gaps just not matter. I've never really seen a player like him in that regard. So anyone else putting out this hand, I'd be like, what's going on? And when Akiyama does it, I'm like, yeah, I've seen him do it in a finals. I've seen it against, me, a similar player to Deli in strength. Like, he does this and it works out. With another player, I'd also might think, okay, they lost the closed, they're a bit tilted. But I don't really know if that's the case here either. I would just think he just looked at these cards and thought he liked them, and he tends to have a good instinct for things clicking. Another nice thing about Deli's move I should have mentioned is Akiyama arguably has 2 corner cards for 3, and by blocking 3, he may make both of those cards much weaker for the rest of the game, which is very logical when you think about it. Delial has very good instincts for this kind of thing. And I don't really know what kind of form he is, but I watched him play a game yesterday and I thought he played great, so I think he's in good form. Akiyama has been winning most of the chat tournaments these days, so should also be playing at a very high level right now. All right, I'll be back in a sec. All right, Akiyama still has not moved, which is a sign that this is really a difficult position and he's looking for something. Akiyama tends to understand positions very quickly and accurately. And when he does, he is able to then move very quickly and accurately. And when the position is difficult, so he's an interesting player because he's very good at short time controls, but on long time controls like this, it's not actually completely wasted. Because if he needs the time, if the position isn't coming easily, he can use that longer amount of time. But this is a sign that this is just very dangerous for him, and he's looking for something appealing. Almost immediately after I say that, Akiyama moves as I try to have my first bite of food. This move makes a lot of sense. Now, it does leave him with little up and only level 3s. And you may also say it used up his only card that can capture anything. And that might be true, but it might not be, because he will never actually need to capture one of those downward 6s. Both are his right now. He also specifically plays in 2 with the only card that flips 3, but is not susceptible to a counter back, right? If he played 6-3-6-3 in 2 and was met with 5-1-4-7 in 6, that flips 3, which also flips 2, and that's going to be annoying for him. This avoids some of those problems. The card that's susceptible to combo through is 1, but 1, there is no combo through 1, and Deli's captures there are a little clunkier. Also, Deli cannot play in 6 while setting up 5. So I think this is a very logical try. And now the pressure is on Deli to find something pressuring, right? To find something that says, no, you're still in trouble here. There are sort of 3 moves you consider, I think. 5-1-4-7 and 6, 5-6-5-6 and 5, and 7-6-3-4 in 4. My sort of calculating while I'm talking attempt says 5-6 and 5-6 and 5 is actually quite interesting. Normally not a move I love, but here it's kind of this big clunky card that's hard to deal with. Deli plays 5-1-4-7 and 6 very quickly. Note Akiyama is quite lacking in ups, so 6-3-6-3 in 9 is actually his only capture in 9 if he wants to snag this card. And then he is left with 2 cards that are facing down left. I would guess Deli's plan is just to stick 5-6-5-6, the big chunky boy, in 5, and that's actually safe. But we will be pausing so you don't have to hear me chewing on my food. All right, we have 2 important updates. 1, Tezuka also would have played 6-2-6-6 and 3. He sent a message. I really shouldn't say what people send me in private messages, but I think this is fair game. That he thought the look of 6266 and 3 was very appealing as well, and then Deli played it. So, Tezuka and Deli on the same wavelength here. Turds actually, I posted his quarterfinals video from Triad Wars 14, and while I think I was slower to get to his conclusions, he said, get out of his head, that I was very much on the same wavelength with him at each point in the game. So, maybe Turds and I are thinking alike these days. Delial and Tezuka are thinking alike these days. We shall see. Deli also mentioned that he thinks Akiyama is really weak to the right here. That looks correct. I missed there were multiple pluses in 5 here, but I'm not too worried about them, right? 4157 I saw, and concede 7634 in 4, which looks like an absolute disaster. 6363 in 5 I missed. So the question is, does that hold after something like 5656 in 9? And I think it might. No. No, it's close. I was thinking you can play so Akiyama plays 63635, Deli plays 56569. Okay, this isn't gonna happen. Akiyama plays 4157-4, and now 7634 is not safe in 8 because 236 actually is a plus in 7, but 7634 is still safe there in 7 and does win the game in 7. Akiyama goes 9. Now, my guess was 5656 and 5. That would make it 5-5 and is safe. I don't believe there's a big setup against it. For instance, 4157 and 7 sets up Abomination in 8, but not in 4, which it would need to. And Abomination in 7 sets up 4157 in 4, but not in 8. So I don't think there's a big setup in 7. If Akiyama plays 4157 and 8, he loses to 7634 and 4. If he plays 2366 and 8, he ties. Okay, so that's not a winning try. I'm going to eat some more and go back to the drawing board. So we have another safe move to check for Deli. 7634 and 8 is just safe. But I think 4157 in 4, if nothing else, should hold a tie. Setting up 7. Has Akiyama done it? Has he held? Another move to check is 7634 and 4, but that can be met very comfortably in 5. There's 5656 and 8, that can be met in 5. There's 7634 in 5, that can be met in 8. I think he's held. I think a nice hold by Akiyama here with a difficult hand from a difficult position, which is not to say Deli did anything whatsoever wrong. I think there's an instinct to think, oh, this player had the advantage, they should have won. Now, Triple Triad is a short game. You can only put so much pressure on the opponent, and you just try to get as many pressures as you can, and if they happen to break through, great. If they don't, you got some pressure. This is all you can do. I think there are people who kind of mythologize certain players as being able to force wins out of anything. And there are certainly players who apply more pressure or get more pressures and thus are more likely to win in a small number of games. But, you can't force a win. And when your opponent is really strong, you just try to get the pressures where you can. So Deli has picked up 7634, which I would guess is going in 8. And then the line I checked was a 4157 in 4. All right, I'm gonna. You know what? I'm gonna mute myself and leave it on because the next few moves are likely to go very fast. All right. It looks like we got that line. In the meantime, I made a meme. So let's show the meme off. Beautiful. Good work to me. Now go away. Um, and yeah, it looks like a nice hold from Akiyama. Um, not too much to say here. Uh, I didn't actually ever check if 2774 and 5 didn't happen to flip everything and win here, but it doesn't, so didn't miss anything too much. Um, yeah. All right, nicely held by Akiyama in clearly a difficult spot. I think he did kind of the responsible things of like you just block 2, you grab the square you can, you take 9, you grab 6, you grab what you can, and you have just enough combo potential with your cards facing the wrong way to hold off a tie. and we get a tie in this game. So the match is not over. Deli mentions 4 instead of 6. I was thinking about Pelagros 5, but your way was better. Didn't check 4. Might have been something. My guess, though, is that it was choosing between ways to pressure Akiyama rather than like finding a win. And Akiyama held this really nicely with the move in 9. I would not be surprised if that was the only tie there, kind of thing. I would not be surprised if there were a couple others, but just all very narrow paths. And okay, they'll probably keep playing, so I'm going to pause this video and I suppose come back when they do. Interesting first open game. You know what? We'll just make a new video when they start playing again. That way I can close this, try to finish eating, and yeah, it'll all feel easier on my end. So see you next time, and good game so far. This has been a fun match.